Yesterday, 5 persons were kidnapped in the Federal Capital Territory. That is very worrisome. Many believe that when we hear kidnappings and we are hearing them along the Lokoja, Okene, Benin axis, or hearing them along the Benin, Agbo, Umunede, Saba axis, you may likely want. Or when you hear them even somewhere in the north central or the northeast, or somewhere very far, you believe, okay, this can happen. But happening in the Federal Capital Territory is very worrisome, particularly happening in the suburbs of Abuja's largest satellite town, that is Kubwa, that apparently is just about 20 minutes away from the city center. Kubwa is one area that is very prominent, lightly developed, adjoining Jigo, stretching towards Buari or within Buari Aerial Council, and one that is strategic, lying or just located along the Oudan Northern Expressway, the one we refer to as the Kubwa Road, connecting the FCT to the northern flanks, Zuba, Tasha, Kaduna, Kanu, and that alignment. The question is, what is the problem? What is going on? The security agencies, are they on top of their game? How will these persons who are residents of the FCT be kidnapped, gunfire, and taken away, and yet no one stopped them? They are now with their victims demanding for ransom. This, many believe, should not happen in the FCT. Well, let's do analysis of it. Let's talk about it, and let's explain what is going on, what is wrong. I spoke with senior defense correspondent of Independent Television this morning, Mr. John Taylor, and Taylor told me that when he spoke with the police last night, they said they are on top of the situation. But from what we saw, the kidnappers appeared to be on top as at the last time we checked yesterday evening. I'm now being joined by Dr. Steve Okwori, a security consultant and expert, as we x-ray this ugly scenario in the FCT. Another kidnapping where the IGP is. If you look at Kubwa, taking it from the Kubwa Road down towards Asukuro, the barracks are all there, the garrison are all there. When you look at Kubwa, from behind the Kubwa, you have some military barracks around Dutse Alahaji. Kubwa is not too far from the Mopo division that is just lying very close at Odeide. And when you go back, the military pension board is just behind Kubwa, not too far from the road that these kidnappers use. How come we are hearing kidnapping again around the Kubwa axis?
It's unfortunate that we are hearing about kidnapping again. And let me say that it's unfortunate that these criminal elements, they are always ahead of our law enforcement agents. You know why?
Why?
Because where they sit and plan, right, the law enforcement agents are not privy to such information, and they don't even have that information that this is where they are planning about going when they want to go and carry certain attacks, you know. So it is when these things happen, when these incidents happen, that is when our law enforcement agents begin to react. Now, this very attack or kidnapping incident, it took the police 1.5 hours to get there, you know, when the kidnapping incident had happened. So just imagine 1.5 hours.
Why that late?
That's the problem. That's why we said, when you begin to find out why that late, you begin to hear certain information, perhaps like no operational vehicle, no fuel in their vehicle. If there was,
but Minister Yesin Wike distributed brand new Hilux vehicles with all facilities, all gadgets, everything inside, and you see them drive them around Abuja with the FCT logo on the front door. Why can't they get there?
I think that this very incident did not happen in Kubwa itself. It's a community.
Yeah, it's still within Kubwa. In that place, policemen get there.
Yes.
Sometimes they set up checkpoint to disturb Okada men.
You see, when people enter the law enforcement agencies, for instance, a lot of them go into this job without having passion for the job. Are you aware of that?
Right.
Yeah, they don't have passion for the job. You know, so when they get in there, it's a platform for them just to see how to make money. You know, that's their interest. So where they need to be professional in their dealings, in their doings, you see that they have this lackadaisical attitude towards their job, right? Now, that's why I keep saying that some of these communities where we have, right? Even in the FCT, the suburb, there are certain areas that you don't see the presence of conventional security agents. So now how do we now close that gap? This is a situation or a challenge that is known to us. How do we now improve it? So it's when you don't know the problem, right? You begin to think of what to do. Okay. But here we know the problem. These communities around the FCT don't have conventional security presence.
Why?
Yeah, because I would say that we don't have a lot of manpower on the ground. As we speak, in the whole of Nigeria, we have about less 400,000 police officers. By the time you begin to do this substitution, right, the numbers that are policing wealthy Nigerians, numbers that are policing politicians, numbers that are policing government officials and the other people that have access to have police protection as a result of what they can afford to give to the police. By the time you take that number from the less 400,000 police officers that we have, how many is left to protect the other over 200 million citizens that are there? So manpower is already a challenge, and the police hierarchy is aware that manpower is a challenge. What do we now do to say how to boost the manpower? We cannot have close to 230 million Nigerians, and we have less 400,000 police officers. By the time you take out that deduction I talked about, you will see that we don't have enough men. The UN ratio talked about a police officer to a citizen to protect. The UN ratio is the police officer to 350 to 400 citizens to protect. But here we are. The last time I did my workings is a police officer to 1,150 citizens. So we have gone far above the UN ratio. So what do we now do? Looking at our situation, we have a hostile situation in the country. So this are that.
Now let's come back. We'll come to all of this detailed analysis now. Kubwa, this is not the first time we are getting this from Kubwa. Sometimes we get it from Buhari, from some communities around Buhari. Sometimes we get it from the village of the local government chairman local government chairman himself. And the question we'll be asking is, with all of this, seeing that Kubwa appears to be the hotspot, and the last time they cleared them, we had so much police video, so much clips of the current AIG now, who was the then CP, climbing the hills. One of the reasons why he was brought from, I think, where he was to become FCT police commissioner was that he combated, he would face them headlong. And we saw what he did when he was SAS commander very many years ago. That's Bernard Igwe, the one we call Igwe. And he chased them, and they chased these people away deep into Kaduna State. Yeah. Why did they not sustain that going forward? Why did they not return back? He became AIG, he went to Zone 7, he oversees this area, the CP is there. Why did they leave? Why was Kubwa left so porous?
No, I think that in all that efforts, there seemed to be no collaboration or synergy amongst the CPs within the states.
The G7 states.
Yes, the G7.
The ones around the FCT.
Exactly. If there was that collaboration, I think that the success they would have recorded would have been far more than what we're saying today. So
do you think that the CP Kaduna will be so worried about what happened around the border with Buhari?
Why should they?
Or the CP Niger?
Yeah, they should be bothered.
But they are mostly concerned about Mina and the capital.
No, but that's not just the state alone. There are boundaries around these states. Kogi has a boundary between with Abuja, the FCT, and Niger and the other states. So how well are they even synergizing? I think that there was this G7 operation that happened, and there was success. So you see, the problem is that sustenance is our problem. When we start something, we should sustain it. And I think at some point when the record successes are not, that they go to relax. But meanwhile, the criminals are not relaxing. Right. So as the criminals are not relaxing, they're also thinking ahead. The agents of security need to also think ahead of the criminal element.
Now let's look at intelligence gathering.
Yeah.
Because like what you raised in the beginning, when these criminals gather to plan, sometimes ago, many believe when you sit in anywhere, the DSS, the CID, sometimes the NIA may be foreign, the military intelligence, they are everywhere. But that thought no longer exists now. How come guys will gather, they will plan, they will launch attack in their numbers, maybe 20, 30, and they will go and no information?
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't we infiltrate them?
No, I think that the method of investigation then that used to be analog, then we were even yielding more results compared to what we are seeing now. Even with the use of technology, we're not even getting the kind of results that we used to get there, right? Up to now, you see policemen amongst the civilian population in a very very local area where you don't ever think in your life that a police officer will be there. They sit amongst these people. Whatever they are taking, be it what you call brukutu, local gin and all that, they sit there. Meanwhile, they have intention. They know what they are after and all that,
including DSS.
Exactly. But why has the thing not? Why has it changed from that way that we used to get all this local intelligence? Now, I think that sometimes when these informations even come, they try to see how to wave it with the finger. Sometimes I feel that it doesn't make any sense to them.
They wave it out. All the Ogas are not interested. All the Ogas are interested in policing Maitama, Asokoro, Gariki, Aso Drive, and all the key area. Exactly. And those are the suburbs you live in the house of God.
Exactly. And you see that even crime, there's less crime even within the city center, because even the criminals themselves, they are scared. They don't know where the secretaries can confront them from, So they're even scared of coming into the city center to even commit some of this crime. So that's why they go to the suburb to commit this crime. And of course, kidnapping for ransom. I have said the times with a number that is a venture that has come to stay, right? Because it's a venture that turns a penniless person into a wealthy individual all of a sudden, right? And moreover, we have sponsors of this crime, right? What are they doing about the sponsors of this crime? When you arrest these perpetrators of this crime, they're just ordinary foot soldiers. The chunk of the money, when it's collected, goes to somebody. There's somebody that negotiates this ransom, right? I did my PhD thesis on kidnapping for ransom. I interacted with kidnappers. I also interacted with victims. Some kidnappers that I interviewed, they told me that one of them told me that they collected about 50 million naira as ransom. I asked him how much got to him. He said 300,000. So where did the bulk money go? It means that there's somebody somewhere that is sponsoring them, that is arming them. But
who is the one shielding those big guys, sponsoring them? Why are we not getting to those big guys? This is the question, because I saw on Saturday, Sunday, on Saturday, the Anambra State government, they demolished a building belonging to a kidnapper. Yeah. And I asked, why demolish it? Why don't we really get all the details out? Why bring down the building in a hurry and you quickly, I believe that's just destroying evidence and closing up everything. Why don't we get all the details we need to get quickly?
Exactly. I've also condemned situations where buildings that came as a result of proceeds from kidnapping are demolished. The structure itself is innocent. What I mean, the structure, the government can transform or use the structure for something else. Just why not confiscate the structure from the kidnapper? The kidnapper goes to face the wrath of the law.
No, but we may even need fingerprint on the building. We may need several exhibits from the building. The rush by governors, particularly in the southeast,
exactly,
whenever any building is tied to kidnapping, to demolish it, it's making me feel that maybe they have something to hide.
Their law.
Because it's a law, but sometimes you can wait.
Yes.
And study the building, get the fingerprint. You may get a clue or something that will lead to something very great. The moment they say this is a person, somebody confessed that, oh, we kidnapped, we took to this building, you don't even wait to cordon off the building, spend time, bring forensic expert, security expert. The next day you get a bulldozer with one commissioner dressed on t-shirt and jean addressing the press, and that building ends and everyone is gone.
You see, it's unfortunate that when it has to do with modern investigation, we are not there yet. Right. We just talked about forensic investigation. How well are we equipped when it has to do with forensic investigation?
The IG will tell you it's very equipped. I know the IG briefed the press that they got everything ready.
We are talking about the practicability of it. It's not about coming to the television or granting a media press or conference to say that everything is ready. I saw in this country where armed robbers went to rob a bank. Senior police officers went to the crime scene and they were carrying arms carried by armed robbers with their bare hands.
Right? No hand gloves.
No hand gloves. So if we're talking about we are there when it has to do with forensic investigation, when professionals like that are caught carrying arm carried by armed robbers with bare hands, no gloves. And you see, when we talk about first responders to incident scene, we don't deploy professionals to as first responders. You understand? To crime scene.
I get you very clearly. The big names will go. Maybe the
ACP,
the CP, the CP will go, the IGP will go with the journalists to check these 5 people who were kidnapped, check their houses, address the press, and the next thing, they are back to the city center.
Exactly. So we must have professionals that are trained within the security agencies, so that they will be the ones that will take charge of certain incidents. And like, for instance, when we're talking about civil disturbance, we do have professionals in the police that are trained to handle that. They just deploy, and that's when they go, they just handle the whole thing. Kidnapping, yes, we should have security professionals that are trained in that regard. When it has to do with forensic, we should have professionals within the police and the DSS and the likes that are trained in that regard. So when issues bordering on forensic investigation at crime scene, they are the ones that are supposed to go there first to see how to take inventory.
If you just joining us, this is This Morning on Independent Television, ITV. We are currently hooked up to our Abuja network station, and what we're looking at here is the state of the FCT, extracting the recent kidnapping that took place yesterday in the Federal Capital Territory, where 5 persons were weeks away from their houses in a suburb not too far from Kubwa, a satellite town in the FCT, and that has been generating reactions from persons that if these kidnappings could be taking place around the FCT, then the question is, where else is safe? And we've been discussing with Dr. Steve Okwori. He's a security consultant and expert. Now, the issue of intelligence gathering, you talked about the fact that when you want to commit crime those days, there was no handset, there was no mobile phone, no smartphones, and we could see people infiltrate. What's wrong with infiltration now?
You see, I want to talk about commitment, right? Do our law enforcement agents, are they committed to the job? Are they
motivated to be committed? Let me ask on their behalf, because they are watching ITV now. They will be asking you, Oga, talk the. I watch someone watching the television. Say, Oga, talk the truth. A policeman say, talk the truth. Are we motivated to be committed?
That's another key question. Are they motivated
to be committed?
If you ask me, I want a situation where their salaries even come early part of the month, not ending.
And it's fat enough.
Because they need to be motivated.
Good.
That's very key. You don't take that away. That will boost their morale.
Motivation in terms of good vehicles.
Yes.
Good pay.
Logistics.
When you are sending them for undercover agent, you rent the house in where they are going to be.
Absolutely.
If they are going to be in the bush as Fulani herdsmen, you must give them everything. Their family must, the risk allowance, everything must be taken care of.
Yes, but with that, we don't see that. And that is why we see this attitude of nonchalant attitude when it has to do with their job, right? We have seen situations where some of them that die in the line of duty, they are their death benefits and all that. Their families that they leave behind struggle to see that those monies come to them.
Then their wives are chased away from the bank.
Yes, and the ones that are alive, that are also already doing the job as well, are seeing what their colleagues, dead colleagues, family are going through. So you see that motivation.
But the truth about it, ending this kidnapping, we need to infiltrate.
Yes.
We need to infiltrate. The guys kidnapping from around the Buhari axis, even in Abaji, they are human beings like us.
Absolutely.
They go and buy, when you pay the ransom 6, 7, 8, 10 million naira, they go and buy vehicle, they go to the market, the kidnappers send their kids to school. They don't live in outer space. And yet we can infiltrate them.
Yeah, we can.
Why are we not infiltrating them?
The police cannot do it alone. The civil defense, the military cannot do it alone. Do you know why? They need collaboration. They need a support base. The support base now, let me take us to the president's manifesto. The president talked about some gray areas in his manifesto where he thinks that he can tackle the issues of insecurity. He talked about the National Forest Guard. How do you now tackle national forest insecurities that are around the forest, around communities where there is no conventional security present? Well, I've said it here, but the last time I was here, there's nothing wrong with local policing. We must advocate for local policing where we have...
Is that not where the vigilante comes in?
Yeah, exactly. There's already the Nigerian Forest Security Service. Yeah, that the bill is before the president.
Yeah.
So if the president is talking about National Forest Guard, I can't.
We used to have forest guard those days.
Those days, they're gone.
We got forest
Yeah,
guards.
so the Nigerian Forest Security Service, they are doing something similar to the forest guards. Now, when the president has mentioned National Forest Guard in his manifesto, how will that now work? I think that there's need for him to see.
Are you sure they still remember that manifesto?
That's the problem.
No, are you sure? Because along the line, during campaign, everyone writes everything good.
Exactly.
And
So
now
this
that the campaign is over and we are home and dry,
this
we may
conversation,
not remember those things again.
yeah, this conversation should serve as a reminder to the president and whoever that is working very closely to the president to know that, okay, Nigerians are talking and they are mentioning this manifesto talking about National Forest Guard. So how would that one work? I think that there is need for him to see how to bring this Nigerian Forest Security Service, on board. So that they can close the gap. That 1 hour, over 1 hour plus that it took the police to get to this community that this kidnapping happened. If the forest...
Why would they spend 1 hour from Kubwa Police Division, from Dusi Alahaji Police Division, from Kubwa Area Command, from, I think it's Mopo 51 along the airport road, along the very close by Adede, Mopo 51, I don't think it would take 20 minutes.
I think it depends on when the information got to them. Do we have a channel of communication within the suburb, the communities that are around the suburb? Do we have a channel of communication that when incidents like this want to happen, they are quickly
even from the Buhari Police Division?
You understand?
Even the military barracks in Buhari.
So these issues of communication is also a problem. How do we now improve on it? Right. So for me, if there was a local structure,
now let me share this with you.
Yeah.
Who is in charge of going after kidnappers? One I observe from my experience in crime is that most of these persons don't combat crime until they are directed. I had a case which I have always shared when I was almost robbed under the Abacha Barracks flyover. Okay. That means the military you could see the military seeing you when these guys came after me. Luckily the car was on and I zoomed off. And I walked up to the guys and said, look, last night I had a case here. I was driving with some colleagues going back, and the colleague had his stomach upset, and I offered to give a person a drug in my car to actually calm the bond. And the person said, Oga, run. And I was to drive, and they smashed my car. And I could see the military watching me, and I told them, Oga, I was attacked here. Yeah. They said, okay, you are the one.
Meaning they knew.
They saw it, and they said, our order did not cover that place. And nobody responded. Okay. And I've observed that. When you say, okay, there's a crime committed in Buhari, Dusi Alahaji area. We have military barracks there. You know those at that roundabout. We have police division. We have area command. Yeah. Can't the policemen respond? Must they wait for one man who may be in his office or who may have come to town to give them order to go after the bandit?
See, I've said it times without number that the Constitution has already empowered them.
But their bosses will tell them, don't move until you clear. Who asked you to go? Who asked you to fire a rifle, to fire a bullet? Go and account for that bullet.
I think their bosses are missing it.
But that's how it works.
No, but should it work that way? So now let us take it that okay, their bosses now ask this police.
Imagine you driving to that place. You know how many checkpoints you will go through to go to Buhari. You know how many places the military will. Even if it's in the evening, you find military checking.
Absolutely.
How come these guys just get away with it?
You see, when I hear the president or their bosses giving them marching orders, I begin to ask questions.
But they got one yesterday in the evening.
Marching orders?
Marching orders.
That they should go for.
They should go for the kidnappers and the.
I just hope that they will get them.
Now, quickly, as our time runs, I know we'll be set to go to Lagos, where they are hoping to take issues that connect to the speaker impeachment and the political drama in the House of Assembly. Payment for ransom for kidnapping.
Yes.
The police will say don't pay, no, but they always pay.
It's not the police that say we should not pay. It's the National Assembly.
They say we don't pay.
Yeah, the National Assembly. You don't forget that they amended the Terrorism Act.
Oh, we don't pay.
Yeah, that. They now criminalized ransom payment.
But they pay also now. They pay for their kids and their loved ones. The lawmakers pay.
Yeah.
They even come out to say they pay.
They now the senator from Imo was the one that moved the motion for that amendment. Yes. That payment of ransom has been criminalized. If it's established that if somebody or a family pays ransom, you will go to jail for 15 years.
But they pay. Even within the National Assembly, they pay when they kidnap their own.
They use back channels, back channels to pay. They don't come to the open to say they have paid. And once you pay and you go to give your report to the police, you dare not say in your report.
But some family members, the last time they came to Kubwa, somebody said he paid to get back his daughters.
Exactly. For me, the National Assembly...
Will you go and arrest the man whose daughter you could not release? Exactly. He gathered money, sold his property to go and pay and secure his children. And you as a state will now go back and arrest him for securing his own. I thought you should bury your head in shame.
Yeah, exactly. Why would they put the cat before the horse? When the issues bordering on kidnapping and all that are there, the triggers are there, you have not addressed the issues, the drivers of kidnapping and all that, and you are coming to say that somebody should not pay ransom to get his loved one released from when the law enforcement agents and all that are not rescued. Hope you know that there's a difference between rescue and release when it has to do with kidnapping.
Yeah.
Release, it means that there was something that was done. Either payment or ransom.
I'm hearing that for the first time. I thought they were just the same thing.
But they're not the same.
Okay, that's what it takes to have a security expert with a PhD on set discussing and looking at release of kidnappers, of victims yes. And rescue. Okay, that's good. That's part of another PhD discussion. Please go ahead.
So when it has to do with rescue, it means that our law enforcement, right, confronted the kidnappers and perhaps they overpowered them. And they got the victims rescued. That's when it has to do with rescue. But when it's released, it means that a ransom was paid or something, some negotiation must have happened and an agreement reached.
Okay, just about 2 minutes to top of the hour, 9 a.m. to take us to Lagos quickly for those interview segment. But now quickly, as we are about to go, we know that we are very sure that these persons will be released. Let's look at the issue of sustainability. Are we sure that after the release of this person, the police will not go back to the FCT to catch crews and leave Buhari the way?
Well, we talked about sustenance, which is one. Now, the victims right now that are in captivity, it's not a guarantee that if they release that they won't be kidnapped again. Hope you are aware. Yeah, because they don't issue you a receipt that you've been kidnapped. So when kidnappers come
they give you warranty.
You can tender your receipt that you paid ransom.
And you have a 3-year warranty.
There's nothing like that. So I've said it before and I'm going to say it. Our law enforcement, they need to step up, right? When it has to do with intelligence. Intelligence is good understanding of the issues bordering on insecurity. How well do they have a good understanding of these issues? Okay,
thank you very much, Dr. Steve Okwori, security consultant and expert, for spending your time with us here on Independent Television. We just pray and hope we have a country that we'll all be very proud of, that crime and criminality would be tackled with the passion and the speed of light. The time is 9 a.m. on the dot. The program is This Morning on Independent Television. We will now be taking a break. When we return, we'll be taking you straight to Lagos. We'll look at the drama, the political drama, and the tension in the Lagos State House of Assembly.